Loko. Hello everyone, it's Adirunke again. I hope your day is going well. Today, I'd like to do pronunciation, how to pronounce Yoruba words correctly. And I have a lot of examples to practice with. So it's going to be interactive. Learning the Yoruba language is somewhat easy peasy for like many people once they get the rudiments of learning and they sort of see the trends, or they pick it up here and there. Speaking is not a problem, or knowing what this is called or what that is called is not a problem. It is pronouncing and pronouncing correctly. So I know that there are specific letters that pose a challenge, like B. If you've before you even watch any further, if you haven't seen my video on tone marks and the Yoruba alphabet, the Yoruba letters, enjoying this teaching is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I encourage you to catch up on those videos even before proceeding. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, picking up words is typically not as difficult as learning how to pronounce correctly. So, there is the mimicry trick. I can say, if you want to know how to pronounce Yoruba words correctly, just listen to people who are pronouncing it correctly and try to imitate those sounds or try to say those words exactly the way they've said it, and you will be all good. But it's not practical. It's not especially for a tonal language that the Yoruba language is. It's tonal, and so picking the proper pronunciation up just like that, it's typically not as easy, especially if maybe you didn't grow up with parents who spoke it or something, for people who are in the diaspora. But mimicry is just if you want to pick up an accent, let's say, you can mimic somebody who's using the accent or who has that accent. It's typically not, but for tonal languages, it's a bit of a challenge. Anyway, this is the 3-step approach. These are the steps. But even before I talk about the steps, there are some initial basics to know. There are some things to note. If you want to know how to pronounce Yoruba words correctly, there are some things to note. The first is that, you should recognize that it is a tonal language. And what does that mean exactly? You know that this language can't be spoken like the English language. The verbs and flows that typically manifest with tonal languages has to be present when you talk. You can't talk. See, my tone is so monotonous. I'm on one level, if I say, I would like to go to the market tomorrow and see my friends, and hopefully it will be a good time. I'm not speaking a tonal language, but if I say, Èmi àtàwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi fẹ́ lọ sọ́jà lọ́la, k'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó dùn kó yẹ wá, ká kéré oko délé, okay, maybe I wouldn't say ká kéré oko délé because I'm not going to. But that was just an example. You can even say that as well, depending on what we're going to the market for. Anyway, maybe I can say èrè lobìnrin jẹ lábọ̀ ọjà, ká jèrè wálé. That seems more fitting than ká kéré oko délé. I don't know why I said that. But the point of saying that is, you see the way that I'm not keeping a monotone. Nígbà tẹ́mi àtàwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi bá ríra lọ́la, a máa ṣàwàdà, a máa ṣeré, a tún máa búra wa pàápàá toró ti pẹ́ tá a ti ríra wa. You see, it's not monotone. So recognize that it is a tonal language and learn the 3 tones and their differences. This is where my video on tone marks comes in. It's quite detailed. I took it from the history and the significance, and I gave examples, and I tried to touch on even the spiritual aspects of just speaking the language with the right tone. So if you haven't, please catch up. Learn the 3 tones and their differences, or if you already know the 3 tones, do, re. I'm going to touch on it in this video as well, but not as in-depth as I did, in the respective video. I know that my microphone had a little, my microphone embarrassed me in that video, but I suppose it's still useful nonetheless. If I have to remake that video, I don't mind. I will. The second thing to note is recognize the proper pronunciations of words. So I suppose this would be where mimicry that I mentioned would play out. It is when you hear people who are pronouncing correctly talk that you would confirm that indeed you're pronouncing it correctly yourself. When you recognize that that is the proper pronunciation, you would be able to confirm with yourself. Recognize the proper pronunciations of Yoruba words. And, the possible challenge here is that there are several dialects. You don't have to learn all dialects. Typically, the issue is not with the pronunciations of words. Yes, words might, based on the dialect, words might have two ways of pronouncing them. A certain group of people might say kama bajiya la shenron majiya lofa. Another dialect, people that speak a different dialect might say kama bajiya la shenron majiya lofa. So some would say majiya, some would say magia. So they are both correct. So yes, in certain cases 1 or 2 words would be different in pronunciation across dialects, but typically it's not even an issue. Typically it would be that the word selections would be different in a dialect, so different pronunciation across the board, but the certain words that appear in Igbajo, let's say, might not appear in Ibadan. If you were in Ibadan and you wanted to say, what about your mother? Or maybe you want to ask about someone's mother, and they're younger than you, of course, in this case, you can say, Iya renko. If you were in, that's Ibadan. If you were in Igbajo, you would say, Yeye resiko. So, the Ibadan will prefer to use Iya. Igbajo, yeye. So, okay, that's one thing. The Ibadan would say yeye, and I think even the Oshogbo, actually not the Ibadan would say yeye, the Igbajo would say yeye resiko. So that's a possible challenge. But even that aside, it would be word selection. So yare nko, yeye re. Okay, yare re, yeye re. So it's re on both, with both dialects. I'm just comparing dialects to buttress my point. Yare, yeye re. So re, but the Ibadan would say nko, the Igbajo would say siko. So the challenge here is word selection and and the magia, yeye, that's where but once you learn the standard Yoruba, Standard being the one that Ajayi Crowther popularized, that he translated. You would see that a lot of people can't really write Yoruba words in their own dialects, as smoothly as they would write the one that Ajayi Crowther made written, the one in present day or your state, because that's the standard. That's the one that he documented because he wanted to translate the Bible. So I suppose that would be the challenge. But just know the standard. Just know the regular. Just know what. At least just know one dialect. And you're good. And confirm that that's what it's actually called in this, and you're good. So anyway, let me move on. Understand the proper spelling of words, including correct tone marks. So when you know what words look like when they're spelled correctly, if you already have an idea of the tones, when you look at that word, and we're going to do a lot of that today, a lot of that practice, once you know what words look like written correctly, you can slash each word into syllables and just go with the tone. So the tone marks on the word will tell you how it is to be pronounced correctly. The tone marks on the words will tell you how it is to be pronounced. I know that when you're with sentences, sometimes you have to make, especially with words that come after you have to make. Okay, let's say I want to say bo is arrive, right? Bo is arrive. If I want to say mumbo, bo sounds different, kind of a bit different. It's the same tone mark, it's the same do on the word bo, but mumbo, mumbo, bo is kind of what it sounds like when it comes after It's still do, mumbo, but bo is what it looks like outside the sentence in and of itself. But when it's in a sentence and it comes after mumbo, actually that would be a separate video. I better note that. The fact that when certain words come after they kind of sound a bit different. But let's even leave sentences for now. I'm coming back to do sentence practice, where we would state sentences and look at each word and then try to make a sentence. I'm just dealing with words now, pronouncing words, each word correctly. So know the proper spelling of words, know what the proper tone marks are. Once you do, you'd be able to look at the words and say, okay, this has the do tone, this syllable has the do tone on it, this has the re, and this has the me, you would be able to syllable by syllable. I'll get there. The possible challenge here is people not spelling correctly, and it's like it's a challenge. Typically people can say, even especially Yoruba natives, they can pronounce properly. That's not the problem. It is the using the correct tone marks and pronouncing properly, and writing properly, that is the challenge. And also tone marks, using tone marks. I know that the technology is not exactly tonal language friendly. Like on my keyboard, if my keyboard wanted to be nice to me and be a little bit more accommodating of my language, on the the keys on the keyboard itself would have tonal letters, or maybe when I press down on A, I would find different versions of A with different tone marks. But the technologies, and that is why I have my reservations about the somebody was asking me, I've been trying to avoid that question for years, what I feel about the Oduduwa alphabet. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, you have to be able to think maybe 5,000 years from now. Is that sustainable? I mean, we can build a kind of technology that accommodates those letters, but I wouldn't say throw the current way of writing away and say, oh, Odudua wants us to use this alphabet. I don't know. Um, I will talk about it in a separate video. But the challenge here is that people don't spell correctly, and so typically you can't go syllable by syllable. Let me see what the correct thing is, because you can't trust people. And what they've written, you know. The fourth is don't be afraid to travel between and among tones. I was saying that earlier with the feeling free with the tones. When a tone is supposed to be pronounced I, go I. Don't be shy. That rhyme though. When a tone is supposed to be I, go I. When it's supposed to go low, go low. When you're supposed to maintain your tone, maintain your tone. Feel free to travel between tones. That's essential, crucial to speaking tonal languages tonally. The fifth is practice makes perfect. So don't worry about, oh, maybe I've not said it correctly. Typically, if you allow it, depending on your disposition, I suppose, if people know that you're trying to learn how to pronounce correctly and you say it wrong, they will correct you. It depends on the kind of relationship that you have with them. But just know that practice makes perfect. And the aids for learning, what did I say? Aids like that. Aids for learning as follows. Movies. What's with the extra emphasis on words? Movies, music, friends and family, books, events like festivals. I was watching a movie yesterday and I saw how, it was infused with proverbs and metaphors, and I was proud. There was a particular scene that pissed me off with the way Isheshe was portrayed, but I suppose that aside, with the infusion of proverbs, at least to the best of their ability, it was really good. So you can pick proverbs up from movies, you can pick metaphors up from movies, from music, from your family members and your friends, from books, etc. You can also pick up a wide range of dialects, maybe not necessarily a wide range. In the current Yoruba movie industry, I think Ijebu, Ijesha, Ibadan, maybe some Oshogbo and some Ilorin, are typically featured, which are like the main dialects anyway, or some of the main ones. But yeah, you can even pick up a range of dialects from these resources. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. This is the 3-step approach. What to do when you see a Yoruba word, or how to practice pronouncing a Yoruba word properly on your own. If you want a quick thing, let's say you just need it for a quick audition somewhere, or you just need it for something quick, you can just mimic. But if you want to get it, these are the 3 things to do. This is the 3-step approach. The first thing to do would be break the word down into syllables. I touched on this on my video on tones. This is a revision, Break the word down into syllables. Know the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable. Pronounce all the syllables at once. All the syllables in the word at once. pronounce them together is what I mean. Maybe not at once, but pronounce them together. And I have a little song. Break it down into syllables. Learn the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable. Pronounce them all at once. Break it down into syllables. Know the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable. Pronounce them all at once. Break it down into syllables. Know the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable. Pronounce them all at once. When you see a word, that's what to do. We have 3 tones. I mentioned it in the video on tones that we have 3 tones, and each syllable of any Yoruba word would always have one of those 3 tones. It doesn't matter what dialect. Each syllable of any Yoruba word would always have one of these 3 tones. And what are the 3 tones? Do, which you can remember by lifting your left hand, because that is what it would look like on a vowel, that has that tone. Do. Re, there are no marks. Mi, it would look like the right hand lifted up like this, the way that it is on this letter E, what you call I in English. E, after me, E, me, So, do, re, mi are the 3 tones. Do, re, mi. Do sounds low. Do is low. So if I say ikoko, 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 there are 3 syllables in that word, and all 3 syllables have the do tone. E. See how low I let myself get. It's not do. I explained this in the video on tone marks. It's not do, re, mi, fa. No. When it is do, it is do. It's not musical. It becomes musical eventually, but let yourself go low with do. Touch the earth. This is the earth. This is your do. Let them touch. Do. 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 Maybe you have to do pronunciation exercises with H. Do. 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 Do do. Ikoko. Baba. Kain kain. These are examples of words that only have the do tones on them. On each syllable of those words. Do. And then that's the low one. So if a syllable in a word has the do on it, you kind of have to go low. You have to go low when you say that syllable of that word. There will be time for practice. Re is higher than do. Re is the average tone. Call it the average tone, the middle tone. It's not quite do, but it's not higher than itself. It's not as high as mi. Re is in between. Re, and then mi is I. This is the sky. The one with the sky. Mi, do. Re, and you can say this after me because that would also help. Once you let your mouth and your brain get comfortable with the idea that the language is tonal, it would adjust. Do. Re, do. do. Re, 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 re. Me, 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 me. People tend to say that re and me are close. Okay, but they're not close. Re, me, me. You feel the little strain when you say me, re, re. You don't feel that strain. Re, re, me, me, me. You feel it a bit in your throat area. Me, 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 re, me, re, me, re, me, re, me. I gave these examples in the video on tone marks. I just want to revise them. Ashe. When you see this word written and you want to know how to be able to say it properly, it means authority, power. I feel like 90% of people who maybe have watched my videos at least for the past maybe 2 or 3 years already know what this word means, or even not necessarily, authority, power. The first thing to do is to break it down into syllables. Now if you hear me say it, ashe, 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 ah, she, ah, she. I suppose it's easier when you can already decipher, when you've already heard a native speaker or somebody who speaks the language, not necessarily even native or of African descent, but typically, it will be the people who know how to speak it well the most will be people in those categories. Ashe. What you would do is, you can mimic and say ashe as well. You can mimic me, ashe, ashe, ashe. But one way to get the pronunciation is break it down into syllables. Ah, she, ah, she, ah, she. So there are 2 syllables in the word. Ah, she, ah, she. Now, why does this have the do? I told you the do looks like this. It looks like the left arm raised slantingly. It looks like this on the word, the way that it looks here. It looks like the left arm. Okay, that looks like my right, but it looks like the left arm raised slantingly on the word. Me looks like the right arm raised slantingly on the word. Me. So ashe, ah, 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 ah. I told you, do goes low. Do, 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 do. Re, 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 re. That's the middle tone. You don't represent it with any tone mark. Me, 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 me. Ah, ah. What does it align with? Does it align with do? Or does it align with re? Or does it align with me, me, me? Which of the 3 does it align with? Do. Ah, ah, ah. It has the do tone. It gives you at the back of your mind, because of how low it is, because of the fact that you feel it, that your throat is actually going low when you say ah in ashe, ah, she, ashe, ashe, ah. Say ah. It starts on a low level when you're saying it correctly. Ah. See? Do. do, do. And then she, the second syllable. Does it align with do, do? She, does it sound like it has the do tone associated with it? Or re, she, re, she, re, she? Or is it me, she, me, she, me, she, me? Which of the three does it align with? Re, she, do. Re, mi, do. Re, mi, do. Do. Re, mi, do. Re, mi. So does it align with do or re or mi? It aligns with re. Break it down into syllables, which we've done. Know the correct pronunciation syllable by syllable. A, do, she, re. If you want to know that you're saying a Yoruba word correctly, the way that you're pronouncing each syllable of that Yoruba word has to align with the tones properly. If a syllable in the word is associated with the do tone, do goes low, the way that you would say that syllable has to align with the do tone. A, do. Your voice in that syllable actually your voice has to get that low when you're pronouncing that syllable. If it is she, if it is re, that the next syllable aligns with, it has to align as perfectly or as well as possible with that tone, with the proper pronunciation of that tone, with what we call that tone. Re, she, re, do. Re, mi, do. Re, mi. A, she, a, she, a, she. We've done this. We've broken it down into syllables and we've learned the correct pronunciation syllable by syllable. Now it's time to pronounce it all at once. Ashe, 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 do, re, ashe, 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 ashe. When you speak a bit faster. I suppose another challenge that I forgot to add would be the fact that you can't really say she. You have to say the words normally. You have to put the syllables together as fast as you can. So ashe, 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 do, she. It's not she. It's not me. It's not me. It's not do me. It's not ashe. It's do re, ashe, do re, do re. The thing is, when you're moving from one syllable to another quicker, then they just blend more, and maybe it's a little bit of a challenge. Ashe, 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 ashe. I mean, you can still feel the in your throat. Ashe, do re. Look at this one. Ifa, ifa, ifa. Let's see. Let's do this one. We've done it in the video on tone marks, but let's revisit it. Ifa, 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 E, E. What does it align with? E, E. There are two syllables. E, fa, E, fa, E, fa. What does this align with? Does it align with do? Does it align when I say E? Do you think of this of do? When I say E, when I say re, and I say E, does it remind you of re, E, re, E, re, E? Or do you think of me, E, me, E, me, E? Which of the three does it align with? Re, re, E, 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 E. So you know that if you're going to say this word correctly and you're going to pay attention to each syllable, you know, at this point you're not just trying to just mimic somebody and, I don't know, save as much time as you can in learning, in quote, but you actually want to learn the proper pronunciation. E, re, you would see that it aligns with re, E. And then fa, 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 fa. Does it align with do? Fa. Do you think of the do tone when you say fa, do, fa, do? Pay attention to your throat and your tone. Do, fa. Do they align, or is it re, fa, re, fa, or is it mi, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, re, mi, re, mi, re, mi. Maybe another thing to do is also maybe you can write the tones down for each syllable and just make sure that whatever you're saying is aligning with those tones in each syllable. Re, mi, re, mi. Just know that whatever you're going to say here, however you're going to pronounce it, it has to sound like re, mi, re, mi, re, mi, E, fa, E, fa, E, fa. Now in practical terms, you have to say it a little bit faster than E, fa, E. Say ifa, 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 re mi, re mi, re mi, re mi, ifa, ifa, ifa. Ogba is the next one, and it means compound or yard. Compound or yard. So let's see if we can do this. What do? You break it down into syllables. Learn the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable. Pronounce it all at once. Ogba, 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 o. Syllable 1, ba. Syllable 2. Those are the only two syllables. Now, o, o, o. Which of the three tones does it align with? O. Does it align with do? O, do. Watch your throat. Do. O, do. O, do. O. Or does it align with re? O, re, o, re, o, re, o. Or does it align with me, or me, or me, or me? It aligns with re, or re, or, and then Ogba, ba, 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 ba. Does it align with do? Ba, do, ba, do, ba. Or does it align with re, ba, re, ba, re, ba? Or does it align with me, ba, me, ba, me, ba? It aligns with do, re, do, re, do, re, do. So you know that this word, whatever you say has to align with re, do, re, do. Whatever you say here, re, do, o, ba, o, ba, o, ba. And of course, in practical day to day, you can't speak that slowly. Re, do, re, do, re, do, ogba, 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 re, do, ogba. Let's do obu, 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 obu. You kind of already know the answer to this by now, I suppose. If not, that's fine. Do, re, mi, obu, obu. Let's break it into syllables. O, 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 boom, 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 o. Does o align with do? O, do, o. Or does it align with re, o, re, o? Or does it align with me, o, me? It's do. So o, o, o. Then boom, boom. You can already tell that it's do. Feel it in the throat. Boom, boom, or boom, or boom, or boom. Know that whatever you say, however you pronounce this word, if you see it written with the do, 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 what looks like a left arm raised slantingly, do, do, or boom, or boom, or boom, do, 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 or boom, or boom. And then you try to pronounce it all together. Or boom, or boom, or boom, or boom. That's how you say the word. Obun. Obunye. Obunye. Obun is what we call a dirty person. Obun is a dirty person. So obun. And dirty in the physical sense, not necessarily the mind sense, but physically dirty. Obun. 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 Let's do this one. Osun. Osun. You can say Osun. You can say Oshun. You know, in Oshogbo area, it's Osun. However, in Ibadan or your state area, it's Oshun. There's a Yoruba dialect that I think they don't have C. In Oshogbo, she is like a new introduction. And in those places, this is a new introduction. Both work. Let's break it down into syllables and learn the correct pronunciation syllable by syllable. O, sun, o, sun, o, sun, o, sun, osun, 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 or oshun, oshun. This is o. What does it align with? Do. This is sun. What does it align with? Re. Do re. Do re. Do re. Do o. Do o. Re. Sun. O. Sun. O. Sun. Do re. Do re. So you know that however you say this, it has to align with do, re, osun, osun. So that's basically it for that. And then olókun, olókun, remire, remire, remire. I've done this in the video on tones. You can catch up on it. I've done Obatala as well. I've done that as well. Now let's do some new examples. The first word is eke, 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 which is gossip. Eke. What is the first thing to do? Break it down into syllables. Know the correct pronunciation, syllable by syllable, as opposed to you just wanting to mimic and make it even a lot more stressful on yourself, and pronounce those syllables, together. Eke, eke. I'm intentionally blocking this. It wouldn't end this on people because they already see something at the top. Eke, eke, eke. When you break that into syllables, how many syllables do you get? 2. Eke, 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 eke. And a. What does a align with? Does it align with do? Or does it align with re, re? Or does it align with me, me, me? A. In eke, eke, eke. What does it align with? Which of these 3 does it align with? A. It is do. Do. It is not re, a. Re, a. Not the same tone. It's not me, a. Me, a. Is it this? Yes. Do. A. Do. A. Do. A. And me, ke, me, me, ke, me, ke. Is it do? Ke, do. Ke, do. Ke. Or is it re, ke, re, ke, re, ke, re, ke? Or is it me, ke, me, ke, me, ke? So do, me, do, me, do, me, do, me. So you know that whatever you say here, however you pronounce this word, has to align with do, me, do, me, do, me, eke, 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 do, me, do, me, do, me. Sometimes it looks like, it's me, right? But do, me, when it's a word like this, so it makes it look like maybe the me is a little lower than it is when I say me, do, me, do, me. But it's because of the do. Sometimes the tones that precede influence how you would say specific tones. They're still I, but they're just slightly modified. Do, me, do, me, do, me, do, me, do, me, 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 when nothing comes before or after, but do, me, do, me, do, me, do, me, eke. It's still all one word, so it still has to rhyme. Do, me, eke, domi, eke. So this is pronounced eke. Gossip. Look at this one. Rere, which is an adjective. The noun would be ire. This is the adjective. Rere. How would you say it? Rere. Rere. Not necessarily because these have re. This is not necessarily, but it's literally that. It's literally rere. Rere. I mean, it could have do on it. It could have me on it. But coincidentally, Rere is pronounced re, re, re. Is it do? Re. Is it do? No. Is it re, 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 re? Yeah. Is it me? Re, me, re? No. Re, 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 re. What about this one? Which is a form of poetry. Ijala, ijala, ijala is how it is pronounced. Ijala, it's poetry, and it typically includes the praises of Ogun and the hunters. Ijala, ijala. Let's break it down into syllables. I. Ja, la, I. Ja, la. Let's learn how to pronounce that word correctly while paying attention to its written form. I. Is it do? Or is it re, I? Is it re, I? Or is it me, I? Me, I. Me, I. No. So it's do, I. Do, I. Do, I. Do. I beg your pardon. Ja, ja. Ja is the next syllable. Which one does it align with of the three? Is it do? Ja, do. Ja, no. Is it re, re? Ja, re. Ja, no. Is it me? Yes. Ja, me. Ja, me. Ja. And then the other, same thing. La, me. La, me. Because it aligns with me. It's not do. La, do. No, it's not re. La, re. La. So it's me, la, la. Do, me, me. Do, me, me. Do, me, me. Ijala, ijala, ijala. Do, me, me. Do, me, me. Do. If you, this was what I was saying about if you're lucky that people are bound to make mistakes. Trust me, no matter how good you are with writing or pronouncing, you will misspell a word or two here and there, at least in 1 year. And at that level, you are even perfect. So, but I was saying something about you being able to pronounce even just by looking at a word. You've never seen this word, but you want to know how to pronounce it. You pay attention to the tone marks on it. Do, me, I, ja, la, ijala, ijala. When you, of course, you can't say I, ja, la. Out in public, you have to pronounce the word properly. So I, ja, la, I, ja, la. The next word is onje, food. Onje, food. And of course, the next thing to do would be to break it down into syllables. You want to know how to, either you see it written and you want to pronounce it correctly, or you've heard somebody say it and you don't just want to mimic. You want to know how that sound came to be, how that pronunciation that they've stated came to be. Oúnjẹ, oúnjẹ, oúnjẹ. Re is the first syllable. The second. Je, the third. O, the first. The second. Je, the third. So there are 3 syllables in the word. O, what does it align with? Does it align with do? O, do? No. Does it align with re, o, re, o, re, o? Or does it align with me, o, me, o, me, o? No. It aligns with re, o, re, o, re, o. And moving on to the second syllable, does this align with do? Do. Do. Does this align with re? Re. Re. Or does it align with me? Me. Me. Yes, it aligns. And then the last syllable, je, je, does it align with do? Je, do. Je, do. No. Does it align with re? Je, re. Je. Does re sound like its tone? The tone of that syllable? Re, je. It aligns with re, je, re, je. If it were me, for those who feel like re and me are similar tones, it would be je instead of je, instead of re. If it were me, it would be je. It would have this tone mark here, but it's re, je, re, je. Oúnjẹ is a shrunk version of oúnjíjẹ. Oúnjẹ. Re, mi. You know that whatever you say here, however you pronounce this, it has to align with re, mi, re. Re, mi, re. Oúnjẹ. Oúnjẹ. Of course, you have to speak a bit faster, so it would be oúnjẹ. 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 Re, mi, re. Re, mi, re. The fourth is aláǹtakùn, which is the spider. Aláǹtakùn, and this one has more syllables in it for practice purposes. Aláǹtakùn. There are 5 syllables in it. Aláǹtakùn. 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 5 syllables. A, la, ta, kun. A, la, ta, kun. A, la, ta, kun. A. Which of these 3 terms does it align with? A, do. A, no. Is it re, a, re, a, re, a? Or is it me, a, me, a, me, a, do? Re or me, it's re, a, re, a, re, a. Then la, which does it align with? Does it align with do? A, do. A, no. Does it align with re? La, sorry. La, re, la, no. Or does it align with me? La, me, la, yes. And then the third syllable. Does it align with do? Do. Or does it align with re? Or does it align with me? No, so it's do. Do. Ala. Ala. And then the fourth syllable, ta. Ta. Does it align with do? Ta. No. Does it align with re? Ta. Re. Ta. Or does this align with me? Ta. Me. Ta. It aligns with re. So ta. Re. Ta. The last, does it align with do? Do. Already you can tell, because if it doesn't align with re, re, no, nor does it align with me. So you know that however you pronounce this, it has to align with re, mi, do. Re, do. Re, mi, do. Re, do. A, la, ta, re, mi, do. Re, do. A, la, ta, re, mi, do. Re, do. Ala, ta, re, mi, do. Re, do. A, la, ta, a, la, a, la, ta, re, mi, do. Re, do. Ala, ta, So ala. So whenever your voice needs to be on a, it has to be. Whenever it is la, you have to let your tone get I as well. A, la. You have to let that reflect in your tone as well. Let it drop. A, la, ta, alantakun, alantakun, alantakun. Spider. That's how to say it correctly. The sixth example would be the tortoise. Ìjàpá, ìjàpá, ìjàpá. The tortoise is featured in a lot of our folk tales. Ìjàpá. And let's see what the proper pronunciation, the rudiments of the proper pronunciation. 3 syllables. We cut it down into syllables. Ìjàpá, 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 ì. Does it align with do? I, do. Yes. It doesn't align with re, I. You can tell from my tone. I, re, no. And it doesn't align with me, I, me, I. So this is confirmed do. This one, ja, ja. Does it align with do? Ja, do. Yeah? Or does it align with re, ja, re, ja? Or is it me? Ja. No, so it's do. Ija, ija. Then pa. In the beginning, I was saying that some letters pose a challenge to some, like the B and the B and the she, which I'll address separately and maybe do pronunciation exercises as well. Pa, 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 do, mi, ija, pa. You can tell that. Okay, let's test. Does pa, pa, does it align with do? Pa, do. Does it align with re, re, pa, re? Or does it align with me, pa, me, pa, pa? Yeah, with that sound, It makes it look a bit lower than me, ba, 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 ba. In those cases, just go with the principle of elimination. Ba can't be do. Ba, and it can't be re either. Ba, re, no. Re, it's not ba. This actually goes high. So it aligns with me, 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 ba, ba. Even if not exactly, it goes high as well. So it would have that tone mark. Do, do, mi, ijapa. Do, just know that however you say this, it has to align with do, do, mi, ijapa, ijapa. Again, there has to be a flow. Of course, you won't speak syllable by syllable. You will speak word by word. So, ijapa, ijapa, ijapa. It is when you understand the rudiments that you would understand the pronunciation, irrespective of how fast it is. Ijapa, ijapa is what you probably hear. Ijapa, ijapa. Just pay it. Talking is like, drumming, or like, how do I quantify? Ijapa, ijapa. Just pay attention. And then the last is relationship, which is ìbáṣepọ̀, ìbáṣepọ̀, ìbáṣepọ̀. Break it down into syllables as well. How many syllables are in ìbáṣepọ̀? Ìbáṣepọ̀, ìbáṣepọ̀, ìbáṣepọ̀. Me tends to sound a bit lower than it really is, or sound a bit different whenever it comes after do. Me comes because it's still one word. You still have to pronounce them all at once, like one word. So it makes this sound a bit lower, but not so much so that you confuse it with re. Ìbáṣepọ̀, 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 ìbáṣepọ̀. There are 4 syllables. I. Does it align with do? Yes. I. Do. I. Do. I. Or does it align with re? I. Re. Or does it align with me? I. Me, they're opposites. Me, do. So, I, do. And then, ba, I told you, this is me, but because it comes after do, it would sound just a bit lowered, but not so much so that you confuse it with re. Ba, see, so you can't be re, because you're going I. Ba, 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 so it's me. But because it comes after do, it's a little bit. I'll talk about it and the one that I stated earlier, the bo example. Ba, me, it's not do. Ba, is it re? Ba. If it were to be re, it will be ba, re, ba, re, ba. But it is ba, ba, ba. It's higher than re, so iba, iba. And then she, she. We already know which of the 3 it sounds like already. Do, no. Re, me, no. She, re, she, re. So it's re and then bo, 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 bo. We know that whatever we say here has to align with the 4 terms that we've identified for the 4 syllables. Do, mi, re, do. Do, mi, re, do. I, ba, she, bo. I, ba, she, bo. And when you pronounce all those syllables together, like the third instruction in the song states, ìbáṣepọ̀, 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 ìbáṣepọ̀. That's relationship. Ìbáṣepọ̀. Do mi re do. Do mi re do. Ìbáṣepọ̀. If you have any questions or comments or requests or anything to tell me at this point, it doesn't even have to be a question. It can be how you're finding it so far. Please leave a comment below, and if you've enjoyed the video so far, please give a thumbs up. These are the ones to practice next. Let's practice these ones next, and we will call it a day. Using the knowledge of what we've just done, of what I've just stated, let's do something just a little bit more practical here. So I have 10 examples. Maybe I will leave one out for you to try to pronounce on your own, and we'll see what you have. This is ewa, 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 beans, ewa, beans. When you divide it into syllables, how many syllables are there? Let me cover this part of the screen with myself. How many syllables are there? Ewa, 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 ewa. 2. Yes. E, and then wa, wa, wa. The pronunciation. What are the rudiments of the pronunciation? Why does it have that pronunciation? Break it down into syllables. E. Which of these 3 does it align with? Do. E. Do. E. Do. Is it? Or is it re? E. Re. E. Or is it mi? E. Mi. E. And then the next syllable as well, wa, wa, wa. What are the 2 tones that you've identified for the 2 syllables? Do, do. So you know that however you pronounce this, it has to align with do, do, wa, wa. You have to let your tone get that low, syllable by syllable. Ewa, ewa. And even if you say it faster, ewa, ewa, it's still do, do. The do is still reflecting in your tone. You're still going low twice because each syllable have the do, aligned with the do tones. Ewa. What about this? How would you pronounce this word? Before we pronounce it, before I even mention what it sounds like, let's examine the 2 tones that are involved in it. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is yet, but it appears that there would be 2 syllables in it because it's typically the vowels that define the syllables, and it comes with practice to without even pronouncing a word, know where the syllable is. With practice or the ability to guess based on trends. This doesn't have any tone mark on it. It doesn't have any tone mark on it. So it suggests to me that it aligns with re. I've cut the word into syllables. It suggests to me that it aligns with re, 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 re. It doesn't have. So I know that however I pronounce this, it would sound like re, 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 re. I'm going to note that. And then this has the do tone in it. Do, do, do. So I know that however I pronounce the syllable, it has to align with do, 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 do. I'm letting you think for yourself now. I'm no longer telling you how the words are pronounced before we even do this. Do. So how do you think this word is to be pronounced? It means beauty. Beauty. How do you think it is to be pronounced? Re, do. Re, do. Re. You know that however you pronounce this, it has to align with this. Do you want to give it a shot? Re, do. Re, do. Re, do. E, wa. E, wa. E, wa. Ewa. That's how the word is pronounced. And this is you just going off of it being properly written. Like I said at the beginning, the challenge to being able to do this, knowing how words are pronounced correctly instantly, just by seeing them, even if you've never heard anybody say the word before, just by studying the tone marks, would ultimately rely on people pronouncing correctly. So, in a perfect universe, you can also pick up proper pronunciation that way. E, wa. E, wa. Re, do. Re. It's not me. It's not e. Me. No, it's e. Re, do. Wa. Ewa. 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 What is this word and how is it pronounced? It means predecessor. This word, whatever it is, it means predecessor. And this is what it looks like broken into syllables. This is what it looks like broken into syllables. There are 4 syllables in it. This is what it looks like. Now, how do you know where the syllables would be? You typically just, again, it comes with expertise and knowing how the language typically goes. At least you would have some, knowledge of the Yoruba language to know, even just looking at a written word without pronouncing, although you can't always go off that. That's why knowing the correct pronunciations by checking movies and all that, if they're good, is also critical. This doesn't have a tone mark on it, so it aligns with re. Re, I note that. Re. This has the me on it, so I note me for this specific syllable. This has the re because it doesn't have any tone mark. I note it. This has the do because it has the what looks like a left arm raised slantingly. Do. So when I put these terms together, I know that whatever I say here has to align with this. Re, mi, re, do. Re, mi, re, do. A, la, she, ku. Re, mi, re, do. Re, mi, re, do. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. So when I put these syllables together, a, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. Re, mi, a, la, she, ku. Re, do. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. A, la, she, ku. Alasheku, 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 alasheku. That's how the word is pronounced. What about this one, which means bed? What do you think? Let's break it down into syllables. This is what it looks like broken down into syllables. Sometimes you will find words that you're unsure of as far as where the syllable should be, especially if you've never heard anybody pronounce them before, but you can see them written, especially for those who have textbooks. I think doing this would also help you read from your textbook. Again, that it's a textbook doesn't mean that the pronunciation is perfect either. I have one book here from my primary school that I found. Actually, it's not mine, it's my brother's. But upon reviewing it, I saw the mistakes, although it's old, maybe from printed in 1998, or it can't even be 8. It would have been before I was born, you know. So it's not. Anyway, let's break it down into syllables. There are 3 syllables. This doesn't have any tone mark on it, so it must be re. This has the do on it. The other has the do on it. Re, do, do. Re, do, do. Re, do, do. Re, do, do. So I know that whatever I say as the pronunciation of this word has to align with re, do, do. I, bu, sun. I, bu, sun. Again, you have to know the letters and how they are pronounced, right? I don't think there's really any part of this series that you can miss, because they just kind of link in some way. I, bu, sun. I, bu, sun. Re, do, do. So the word is pronounced I, bu, sun. Ibusun. Ibusun. That's how we pronounce the word. Ibusun. Ibusun. What about this one? What is this word? Re. Because it doesn't have any tone mark. This syllable is re. 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 And then this one as well has to be re. Re. This is me. 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 This is re. 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 And this is me as well. Me. 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 Re. Re. Me. Re. Me. Re. 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 Me. Re. Me. So it is o, ba, lu, a, ye. O, ba, lu, a, ye. It's pronounced obaluaye. Rere mi, re mi, obalu, aye. Obalu, aye. Rere mi, re mi, obalu, aye. That's how the word is pronounced. And then this one, how do you pronounce this word? You have to have a knowledge of letters to not confuse it with something else. Re, because this syllable doesn't have a tone mark on it. Re, and then this is do. 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 Re, do. Re, do. Re, do. Re, do. O, sun. O, sun. O, re, then sun. Do. O, sun. O, sun. O, sun. That's the proper pronunciation of the word. Just looking at the tone marks. O, sun. Re, do. Re, do. It's not O, you know. It's re, O, then sun. Do. Re, do. O, sun. The next is this. It's breeze. The next is breeze. when you break it into syllables, what does it sound like? What does each sound like? And then what would the word sound like? This doesn't have any tone mark on it, so it's re. This does. It has the mi tone mark, so you know that it aligns with mi. You've noted that this is aligns with re because it doesn't have any tone mark on it. This has the mi tone mark, so you've noted that it is mi. This has the do tone mark, so you've noted that it is do. And you know that considering these three tones, whatever you pronounce was aligned with this, with the tones for the three syllables, re, mi, do. Re, mi. Actually, it's if you've just thought about each tone, re, mi, do. Re, mi, do. But I suppose that do, the sound of do, may also change when it comes after mi. The sound of do may also change. It may not be quite do. You know, because it's still a word, the tones still have to, the tones can't be too sharp from each other. You know, mi, which is high, and do are opposites with re in the middle. So whenever they are right next to each other in a word, they still have to accommodate each other. They can't be too sharp. Or it would be like not pleasant to the ear, you know. So if it were to be re, mi, do, re, mi, do, it would not be really, it would be ategun, ategun, which is not quite. So I mean, this is not a strict rule, you know, this method, this just helps. In certain cases, there are modifications that need to be made, and this is where your listening to people pronounce and all that would come in. Re, mi, do. Re, mi, do. Instead of mi, do. Mi, do. Mi, do. They kind of have a meeting point because they're right next to each other. Ate, gun. Without that meeting point rule, it would be re, mi, do. Ate, gun. But it's not really how, in a different dialect, maybe it would sound like that. Re, mi, do. Ate, gun. Ate, gun. Maybe a kitty. Either a kitty or someplace in Oyo may say it like that. But in, you know, this dialect that we're learning with, ategun, ate, re, mi, do. Ategun is how this word is pronounced anyway. The tones just give you an idea. I will talk about, like, you know, the need for where certain things may not align with this rule. I've already stated it as I've spoken, but I'll do a separate video for them. Re, mi, do. Do. The do can't be sharp because it comes after mi. They have to, you know, be able to blend, I suppose. Ategun. They have to help each other, be compatible. Ategun. Ategun is how the word is pronounced. And then this one, how do you think this one is straightforward? Because this one is straightforward. You can see that when you break the syllable, this means step stool or ladder, by the way. They have the same base letters, but they're not the same word. This is when I said it in my video on tone marks, that tone marks are the most critical part of the language, and that you can confuse or cause havoc when you don't pay attention to tone marks. Not just in pronunciation, but in certain cases, in writing. I wasn't kidding, you know. Step stool or ladder, and then when you break the word down into 3 syllables, and you see that do are on each syllable, you get do, a, te, gun, a, te, gun, a, te, gun, do. So yeah, whatever you say here has to align with do, a, te, gun, 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 a, te, gun. That's how to say the word properly. A, te, gun. That's the word. What about this? What about this one? Which means truth. Truth. You know that do is the first syllable. Do. Because it has the do tone mark. These don't have tone marks. Re, re. So whatever you say here has to align with this. Do, re, re. Do, re, re. O, do. That's how the word is pronounced. O, do. O, do. O, do. And because you can't speak so slowly, you have to let them blend. O, do. O, do. What about this? Look at the tone marks. This has the do on it. This has the do on it. This has me on it. So you know that whatever you say here has to align with do, me. Do, me. Me is coming after do this time. So it's fine. You're not going from unlike ategun, where you can't say re, mi, do. Re, mi, do. You have to help do come just a little bit higher in such a way that it doesn't leave its box. How do I analyze? You see, this is a box. Where's the let's just assume that there's a box here, and something is, and maybe let's use this box. Let's say that this is a box, and do is somewhere here. It's still within its box, yes, but you just help bring it just a bit higher within its do box, to avoid any clashes. So instead of do, me, do is what it sounds like. Do. It's not do. It's still do. It's still a low tone, but you just help bring it within its own box, and you will see quite a bit of that here and there, as you learn more words, as you use more words. Do. But with this, with do, me, do, me, o, do. That's how the word is pronounced. O, do, o, do, flower. O, do, o, do, o, do, o, do, flower. O, do. So this is what I have for now. So far, I hope you were able to, if you've watched this far, I hope you were able to get some practice in. I will make videos on the pronunciations of the challenging consonants. They are quite challenging for some, because they, apart from the fact that they've never spoken tonal languages, it's just those sounds are just not what they're remotely used to, part of the languages they've been speaking. The B, 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 B. For some, it is she. Some people just can't make that sound. So I'll make videos on those, maybe on those three, and if I remember one more. The vowels seem to be easy peasy for many. A, E, I, O, U. You know, it is the B that challenges some. So I'll address this, and I would also talk about, you know, as a sequel to this video, I'm going to address the cases where you may need to, when this tone comes after this tone in this kind of context, maybe after in mumbo, you know, this is what to do to aid your pronunciation. This is what you would typically find in this case, and this is what to do. I will put my thoughts together and make that video as well. If you would like to review what we've done, you can also, you know, look at a video, pause, try to pronounce it on your own without going to the next slide to see what the breakdown is and what the pronunciation is. After making those videos that I've suggested, I will also make the how to write Yoruba properly video. How to write. You know how to pronounce. You know what at least you know what the correct pronunciation is, even if it won't leave your mouth. But you don't know how to write properly. We're not going to have that. So I will make a video on that as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Please continue to support me in the many ways that you have. I have a Patreon. I post daily, depending on the tier that you join. If you join the lowest of the 3 tiers, you may not see my posts every day. But for the other tiers, yes, you will see something from me each day. And also, if you would like to join my channel in order to support me, it would be highly appreciated. Please like and comment and help me grow this channel to where I'd like it to be as far as viewership and noticeability is concerned, just for the benefit of those who are trying to find a forum like this, a platform like this. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.
Ọládékojú ẹbọra tí ń gbé inú omi, ìyá mi ẹ̀wìjé aláyẹlé aró alábòdòdò ni mò ń ké sí. Apirọ̀rọ̀ bí ẹni sùn ọba àbíní, apirọ̀rọ̀ bí ẹni sùn ọba òde ìjẹsà àtọkùrọ̀ díà lóbì kan àjẹfọ́ra múndíá lọ́mú. Idẹ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀wìjí o, idẹ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ ẹ̀yẹ mi Ládékojú ẹbọra tí ń gbénú omi, ìyá mi ẹ̀wìjí tí wọ́n mọ rẹ̀ tí yè. Ọ̀sùnmọ́fìtalẹ̀ jẹmí Ọládékojú. Ọládékojú ọ̀sẹ̀ǹgẹ̀sẹ̀ dákun mọ́pọ̀n mi dà sínú mi tọmọtọmọ. Ọ̀ṣun oníjì ìdá mi lóhùn wọ́n mo ń ké sí. Bọ́sùn bá ń ta wọ́n, tí bá ń jẹ wọ́n wọn nítalẹ̀ níjà wọn a máa ká ní, wọn a máa ká sọ. Ọ̀sùnmọ́fìtalẹ̀ jẹmí o. Ládékojú ọ̀sẹ̀ǹgẹ̀sẹ̀ dákun mọ́pọ̀n mi dà sínú àwa.